So most of you know me as Adele Ramcharan, YouTube entrepreneur and digital businesswoman who dropped everything and moved to the mountains to live her dreams. But as I talked about in a previous video, my story doesn't end there. I've been working since I was 14 years old. And I was in high school, I was working 2-3 jobs. I was exhausted. And that was pretty much the main reason why I wanted to get away from the world of work and 9-to-5s. But I've got a story to share with you today. It's about a hamster. Yes, technically I had 3 hamsters. I got my first hamster when my little brother was still learning to speak, and he took one look at him and he thought it was a mouse and he said, "Oh, it's a micey." That was the cutest. Okay, his name is Micey. So Micey was this little teddy bear hamster. He had this little white zipper down the front and these like little white paws. I had him for 2 years, and when he died, I went and got another hamster that looked just like him and called him Micey as well. Now that Micey lived for another 2 years, and when he died, I went and got another hamster that looked just like him and called him, yeah, you get it. I did that. Anyway, one night I heard a strange sound coming from his cage. And now hamsters are nocturnal creatures, so they'll sleep all day and then they get up and they run on that wheel all night long. And he'll stop and take a drink and eat a little bit, but he would just run on this wheel non-stop. One day I went and looked, he was just kind of getting up and getting started, and the wheel was broken. So, I couldn't keep it in there. He was gonna get his legs caught in it. So, I took it out and I'll get him another one the next day. Well, come to, walk by his cage, a few hours later, and he was losing it. He was like going across the cage, like hand over hand. Do you guys remember the original Ninja Turtles movie? The scene where Splinter is in his cage and he's like, that's what he was doing. So my point is that while it's a dream to escape the rat race and get out of the monotony of day-to-day life, just all of a sudden not having to work anymore, not having to answer to anyone, not having to wake up on time, it's great for the first little while, but then it starts to get really weird, and it can be jarring for some people, myself included. Now, I've had a pretty amazing year living out here in the Alberta Rocky Mountains for the past year. My average day would consist of, waking up whenever felt right for me. I would do some stretching and some meditation. Then I would, drink some tea and look out at the sun coming up over the mountains and contemplate life. Then later, I would take a short road trip, usually, either to the lake and go for a really long walk, or I would take a short road trip into Fernie for the day and go for lunch. Sometimes I would drive the 2 hours into Calgary and go to, conferences, networking with other entrepreneurs, shopping at Chinook Mall, getting manicures, going on Tinder dates. Now I would spend some evenings wandering the woods or the foothills just aimlessly, and it was a form of meditation for me. Sometimes I would even do it in the rain, and it was very, very pleasurable for me. And other evenings, I would come home, hit the treadmill, I would answer my customer service emails, I would create content for social media posts, I would write video scripts and do editing, and I would also just read. I would read books on spirituality and business for hours at a time. This was how I lived my life every day for the past year, and this has been the most magical, one of the best years of my life. But after a whole year of, living this fantasy that I created for myself, I'm starting to realize that I'm ready for a new challenge. And I was really shocked or surprised that my mind kind of went back to, what, maybe I'll get a job again. I used to sell makeup at the mall, and I started off, working temporary, then part-time, then full-time, then manager, just taking on more and more responsibilities. Just the other day, I still buy a lot of these products. I was at Sears in Lethbridge, And I go into these beauty departments and I kind of miss what I used to do. All the ladies there, I go and I chit chat with them, and I'll talk to them about all their products and ask them questions. But I miss getting excited about the new product launches. I love shiny, pretty product launches. I also really miss connecting face to face with my customers. My obsession with solving problems combined with the way I connected with people on a personal level, that was how I became the top salesperson in my department, in my city, in my division. I complained a lot about working in retail, but I think that's because, I didn't know how to balance my life. I did it for too long, and, I didn't have any time to take, after my mother died. When you go from being in a hospital room and watching your mother take her last breath in front of you and pass away, and then you're at work again in less than a week, I remember thinking that, all I had to do was just put myself in a good mood and just work hard and think positive thoughts. But these things have physiological effects on you that you have to address. You need time, you need support. And, I was like a lot of people, back then. I lived paycheck to paycheck. I couldn't afford to take time off from work, even though, I had this major experience that was affecting my ability to do my job properly. But overall, I really enjoyed what I was doing up to that point. So when I started thinking that I was going to go, sort of sell out and go get another job, that was kind of like the warning bell to me, where I kind of had to step back for a second and just realize that I'm not just self-employed, I'm not just my own boss. I am the CEO of my life. So listen up if you are one of the thousands of people who have purchased my best-selling ebook, How to Make Money on YouTube, and you're going to be one of the first people in line for my upcoming online course about the business of YouTube. You are on the road to the kind of lifestyle I've created for myself, and you're going to want to know these tips for when the freedom that you've achieved in your life starts to feel a little too freeing. So the first tip I would have would be to schedule social and physical activities on a regular basis and stick to them. I think I would really love to attend like a spin class, or maybe some types of yoga classes on a regular basis. That can kind of give you that feeling of community and working towards something as a common goal. I recently announced on my social media that I am moving. I've loved the time I've had out here in the mountains, but I need to be around other driven people in order to really keep myself on track. The second tip I have is to meet with other entrepreneurs and business people regularly. Some of you know I was involved with the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers last year. I took their fast track program, which was one of the best things I've ever done for myself. Community of people was just truly amazing and supportive and encouraging, and the magic that we all shared together was amazing. I would definitely recommend joining something like that. And just from someone who's been there, I would recommend joining something that you have to pay for, okay? I paid $900 to be a part of that. I've been to a lot of the free entrepreneur, things, or the free masterminds or whatever, and you get a lot of scammy people that are just those kind of, here, take my business card, here, take my business card kind of people, and it's like a real turnoff. You want to find people who are committed and actually serious about it and actually working on things just like you are. So my third tip is to find a real way to connect with your customers and your audience that feels personal to you. So I've done workshops, meetups, speaking engagements, consulting. I'm going to be talking about all of these things in depth in my upcoming online course. I came out to the mountains to get out in nature, to isolate myself so I could really start to reformulate the person that I wanted to become going forward, in my business and in my life. Based on the way we are socialized from an early age, the majority of us have to make a decision between holding on to our sense of self and giving it up to be in the world, or holding on to our sense of self and giving up the world in order to keep that. Now, I'm a person who chose to hold on to myself and give up the world. And there are consequences for both decisions. For someone who lets go of their sense of self in order to stay in the world and to stay in society and stay with their family, they start to feel very lost. They start to feel like there's something missing in their life. They start to feel very unsatisfied and uninspired. And, they see people like me and they really, really want that. But on the other hand, people who are like me and who made the decision, I'm going to hold on to my sense of self and I'm going to let the world go. We experience a lot of loneliness. We have some resentment that we felt that, we couldn't be accepted for who we were. So we said, if you can't accept us, well, that's fine. We don't accept you. And we pulled back. Ideally, what we want to learn is a way that we can hold on to our sense of self while still being in the world and interacting with others. And it involves a sense of awareness and some practices that most people aren't really used to. That's what I've been practicing this entire year. And I am ready now to reintroduce myself to the world, to move back to a place where I can interact with people who are on the same track as me on a more frequent basis. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get to know more of you as I make more and more videos. And I just want to thank you so much for watching and for being on this journey with me. Make sure to friend me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I've got all the links below this video. Hit the like button if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and leave me a comment. I read all of them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.